But yeah,
And that's like what he was doing, where he was bringing them back on and stuff. That was like, that was
those are
where
the
he
best
shined.
ones, far, far and away. Yeah, I can re-listen to that Stephen Wolfram guy. That guy is, even looking
Yeah,
back.
I haven't listened to him like literally in a year, so I don't know exactly. I just remember he talked about like computers and stuff.
He okay, so Trevor, he found God by
Right.
trying to simulate the universe. That's
Mm,
Stephen
mm.
Wolfram's stick. Like, that's literally his whole deal. And he's a genius too. Like, crazy, crazy
Gotcha.
up there. Philosophically too. So I would definitely go back and listen to him. I probably will be going back and listening to him. And honestly, what we could probably do, and what we probably should do, is I want to start a series on our channel where we go back and we listen to every theories of everything and we do commentary
Mm,
over it. So we might as
that's
well start with Stephen Wolfram.
very, very interesting. We already there already is a community there that would be willing to watch that content.
Yeah.
But there's no community.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool.
Also, just like perfect cannon fodder to get started with. So yeah, good,
Uh,
good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, well,
at the very least, it'd also be good training too, just to be able to like talk about. All right, here's what someone else believes in relation to what we believe.
oh yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect training. Also, great to just get all of our concepts out the door based on like other people's like. So in other words, it's like if you get this guy, I'll explain what we think in relation to this guy, so you have the perfect map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, which is what I always wanted with philosophers. That's another thing I plan to do. Is it's like if you get my philosophy, I can explain every other philosophy ever made to you from my lens, which is such a cool idea. You know what I mean? It's like after I get this and after I get my entire catalog down, you will have the entire history of philosophy through my eyes. It's like what a useful tool. And then you, of course, you can do your own interpretations too. That's great, but at least now you have one place in which you know you can get all of it. That's what I always wanted. That would have been so useful for me if that existed at the time.
It's an all-encompassing framework.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do right now. I I I kind of want to take a 5 minute breather and just think about it. What we're thinking about is the video, the vocabulary video. The goal of this video is to be the video in which, no matter what we're talking about, we can just recommend you to this video. You know what I mean? That's the point of this video. Is it's like, oh, we brought up a word you didn't understand. We brought up a concept you didn't understand that belongs to us. Okay, well, it's in this video. So as long as you watch this video, basically, what this video is this video is going to be in our intro, right? When we're talking about putting things in 2 times speed and stuff, this video is going to be in there. And we're going to recommend, if you've never watched this, if you never watched us, watch this video and then watch the video that you're watching right now. Like, that's what this video is going to be. This video is going to be like the welcome video to our channel. This video is going to be everything you need to know in a short and sweet package. So
And so,
go ahead.
for that video, uh, I I wrote down a list of the different words that we had come up with. Um, is this what that video would consist of? Of simulacrum slash orb, thought textures, frameworks, including divine lightning and eat yourself, vibe checking, and black hole slash white hole.
Take take all the like last five things off.
So no black hole, no vibe checking, and no divine lightning or eat yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I I'm kind of thinking we should have a vocabulary video, which is okay. Let's stop calling it vocabulary and start calling it intro. Okay, this is the
Okay.
intro video first of all. Okay, and I I think we should have a vocabulary playlist which has like a bunch of 1 minute videos about each individual vocabulary word, which might go over vibe checks, it might go over ataraxia and all that stuff. But I think in the intro video, it should be mainly about these things. Here's the code. Here's how the code works. This is a framework. This is what a framework is. This is what a thought texture is. Here is what God is in relation to our story. Like that's what this video should be. This video should be like, here's our theory of everything in 10 minutes, basically.
All right. So simulacrum slash orb, thought textures, framework code, and then framework.
Yep, that should be about good. I
Cool.
really feel like there's lots of stuff that I'm missing that I would want to put on here if I could just remember it. but I can't, so nothing I can do about it.
Well, I mean, I'll like as far as like a bunch of the content we had, we kind of scrapped, like with the perception, action, and
Yeah, I know,
passive
which
and
is
stuff.
good. I mean, we don't want a lot of vocabulary. It's I'll put it this way: it's good if we only have like this many words. Like that's great. That's how it should
Uh-huh.
be.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that there's more that I'm forgetting that may also be able to be narrowed down. Like I feel like there's like another few sets of words that should be narrowed down as well that we just don't have. But it's not true. Like I should be able to go back to my memory logs and remember that. Okay, I'm just gonna take like a 3 minute, 5 minute pause. Real. So this is about the framework. So first of all, this is something that I've been dealing with. So yesterday was not a great day as far as frameworks went. Um, Today, on the other hand, is the exception by far. Today's been a great day for them. And one of the things I was thinking about is like this. So I'm trying to build a framework right now, which is where every other framework has fallen apart, and this one's doing better than any other one ever has. But I would not be surprised if it collapses on itself and I have to rebuild it from scratch like every other one did. But I'm trying to get to the point where it becomes one motion and it's no longer three separate actions, and it's just one thing that you do. And of course, it's you're always going to need the training wheels version. You're always going to need it to be steps for beginners. But for us, the hope is always that we'll get to a point where a framework becomes something you can activate in literally zero point 0.1 seconds. You know what I mean? And you're just there. So, anyways, um, yeah, technological evolution. But so anyways, I thought it working backwards was perhaps the key because originally the framework works, of course, as you know, as you begin with essentially summoning Exasics or oozeulacrum, however you want to say that. You just like find God, I suppose is the way to say it. But then like so I thought like working backwards was the key because what it felt like was whenever I activated it instantly, it was like I didn't need the step to become God because that was just taken for granted. You know what I mean? It was like that's just sort of yeah, I didn't need to think of the story because I was just so fluent. Yeah, I'm just so fluent in the framework, and I'm already. And you're honestly, that's the better way to say it because I'm already in that state of mind. Is exactly what it is because it's like even me, I'll need to run the story every once in a while just to get the gears turning. But it's when I'm already in that state of mind. It's when I'm already there, then I don't need it. So it's not exactly working backwards. And that's what I was thinking about today is it isn't exactly working backwards. It's more just taking step one for granted. And then step two and three become the same thing. And another way I was thinking about it was it's also kind of like you're just always bouncing between steps. And then anyways, here's another thing. We'll go back to that in a second. Here's another thing. And this is like the most important thing. This is what's really taken this framework the next step up in the last few days is the breathing. I've attached breathing to it better than I've ever attached breathing to another framework ever in my entire life. Um, but like by far, I've usually never been that great with breathing, and attaching breathing to frameworks is not something which typically goes all that well. Um, I don't know if you've noticed, but none of the other frameworks really had breathing as like a important component other than this one, and I'm understanding that part more and more lately. And honestly, I think I can go as far as say it's probably the most important part of the framework as far as getting it to the good. Your mic is so shit, it's insane. It's actually baffling how dog shit your mic is right now. It's okay. It's really loud and it's like choppy. It did sound like it got maybe a little better whenever you did what you did. Try again. Speak again. Don't get closer. If anything, get farther away. Yeah. So now the choppiness. So maybe you do get closer, but then you sound. Then there's like a different problem. But I guess it's better. Like I do get closer. I guess it'll work. It'll work. Okay. So what were we saying? I was talking about breathing. You were in the middle of responding to that. You betcha. Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did add it, and now it's even more than it was then. So anyway, I'll go ahead and explain what the change in breathing is. What brought breathing in this framework so far ahead? What the leap in this framework was that made breathing meld so well, and that was that breathing now is not an it's not something which you try to keep separate, which is what I used to try and do with it. I used to think like, okay, it's an anchor, it needs a set amount of awareness, and then it will be the thing which remains constant among everything else. And it's like that's not the way you want to think about it, because what you're doing there is you're essentially limiting how deep you can go. It's it's less like an anchor and more like it's more like a line which anchors you to the surface. It's like it prevents you from going too deep. If you understand the breathing as something separate from all the other thought textures, and it's something that is meant to keep you focused, whereas everything else isn't meant to keep you focused. You're creating a division. You're creating a line in the sand which prevents you from going so deep that everything becomes a thought texture, and that's when you get like the religious seizures, right? The religious like convulsions. Those happen whenever you understand that literally everything is thought textures, and you understand that like this is the exact same as all of the other universes you're experiencing, and then it's like everything just like shuts down, and like your body stops understanding where it is, what's going on, and starts like trying to move like every other entity you've ever been. You know what I mean? And it's like that's the level you want to get to. That's the most powerful level. Whenever you can't even understand green from gray and you're just like completely dissolved into the mass, the sea. And that you can't do that whenever you're thinking of breathing as something which isn't the sea. Then it's keeping you from reaching that level, right? And what I changed is now what breathing is it's this like it's basically just something which you should always be running the framework on is a better way to think about it. It's not something which you run, it's not something which you touch any differently from everything else. It's something which should always be being touched, if that makes sense. Um, and so like what that means, it's not. I don't even know what I said. I said something like it's yeah. It was like it's it's not something which should be touched differently. It's something which should always be touched. Yeah, I think that's what I said, and that is a good way to think about it. Is it's like it's not something breathing is not something which should be treated differently. It's just something which should always be being acted on. It's something which should every single second you're even mildly aware, breathing should be one of the things which you're running the framework on. And that's not even a good way to say it because in that speech I've created division, like speech always does, and it makes it sound like you 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 are supposed to always be touching it in a way where you can't be touching everything else. And that's the thing is it's like if you are touching this if you're touching breathing with this framework, then breathing isn't even a thing anymore. Because it's like if you're understanding that breathing is in the sea of thought textures, then like breathing stops becoming an independent concept and you're already lost in God. You're already lost in the sauce. So it's like you can't even really think of breathing as something independent. It's just that breathing has now for me become a way to like completely stop intrusive like stop thoughts coming through because it does kind of serve as an anchor because it's like it's the thing which I know it's the same way used to I could use sight as a layer, but then when you go deep enough into understanding the layer of sight as a thought texture, sight no longer becomes different from sounds and brain and everything else, and that's when the slingshot happens, right? The slingshot is when you stop experiencing sight as sight and you start experiencing one thought texture in the sea of thought textures, and it's the same thing here. Like that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to slingshot using breathing, and it's not even trying like it used to be where you have to like load up your layer and then go into it. Nowadays it's just straight up I just notice my breathing, and as soon as I do I'm instantly slingshot forward because I instantly understand what that is, quote unquote, in relation to God. You know what I mean? Let me I'm gonna pause the recording right quick. Oh shit, here's what I've labeled the most recent version. Here's how I'm remembering it personally. The difference is I've labeled it truth recheat, which is just a classic Athenos. It's just three words. You just shove them together, and it's truth, reach, and eat. And its truth is about the story, and it's about how like the amount and truth it could be equated to understanding as well. It isn't exactly belief. It is just that the amount in which you actually understand the story in relation to your life, or in our classic terms, the amount that you understand everything in relation to God is very important for that step. So that's what truth means there. Then you have reach, which is for black hole, and it's about reaching out. And honestly, black hole has become so synonymous with eat that I don't even really think about reach as a step anymore. I don't even really think about black hole as a step anymore. Eat is the last step, and that's the breathing. That's what breathing comes down to. And the way I was wording it to myself is in the same way we used to say eat yourself, which means understand the thing which is thinking as another edible thought texture in the ocean, right? In the same way we used to mean eat yourself like that. That's exactly what you should do with breathing here. You should eat the breathing, and that's what breathing should be a reminder of. Breathing should be a reminder to eat the breathing and eat everything else, just to eat all thought textures, just to become perfectly synonymous with God and just consume every thought texture around you. Um, so that's one way of saying it is just and also it's interesting. It's like it's almost like the horseshoe theorem, which is you go so far one way, you get back the other way. It's kind of like that where I used to imagine steps one, two, and three in a linear line like that. Now I'm imagining it more as like one leads into two, which leads into three, which leads into one. Because whenever and it's less even like that, more that you're just randomly skipping between the steps like all the time. You're always in one of them. I'll have to think about that farther, and that's what I've been thinking about today. Is it's just like, what do you mean by that? Well, no, I'm saying that I've noticed those as two different conflicting phenomena. I don't know which one's true. It's like, but like both, either one could be true. Of course, they both can't be true at the same time. But I'm saying I'm not sure which one it is yet. I'm not sure if it's cyclical, if what I'm seeing is it going one, two, three, one in a pattern, or if what I'm seeing is it just going one, two, one, three, one, two, two, three, one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know which one it is. Um, uh, but uh, but but the reason I lean towards saying that it is cyclical is because at the very least, step three does lead into step one, and I don't know if it always does that, and if that's like a pattern which can be concrete, but I know that at least good. Yeah, yeah. And what I mean by that is it's like whenever I do breathing, I like okay, so breathing has become like synonymous with black holes because breathing is basically just a reminder to do black hole. Like breathing was never a reminder to do oozeulacrum, right? Because even originally, oozeulacrum is a step which leads into black hole, and breathing is a reminder of black hole. So even from the beginning, you can see how breathing and black hole are inherently tied, right? Breathing and black hole, they're not the same thing. Breathing is a reminder of black hole, but they're at least virtually the same step. They're speaking about the same phenomena. Whereas oozeulacrum is kind of different. You see what I'm saying there? So you can group them like that. You're glitching out so bad. Repeat just the last few words again. Honestly, I find that there's no value is what it is. It's not that there's opposition. It's that there's no value in using breathing to run oozeulacrum. Oozeulacrum is not something which you need to be reminded to run. It's something which you run for about 3 to 5 seconds, and after that you're done with it for another like good minute. You know what I mean? So it's like you never need breathing. That's not something which you move what you need a reminder for. You know what I mean? That's not something which you're trying to do all the time. It's only something which you do when you need it. It has a very specific purpose. No, no, and this is where it starts getting confusing because I'm working on different frameworks at the same time. And even though like the one that which I talked to you about and the one which I explained to other people because it's the one which is easiest to understand is acid, cynthia, beta, beta. which is the one where it's the steps, it's the code, like how you can think of it as. The one which I'm actually running in my daily life right now is acid baptism, which is the one where I'm trying to fuse them. And so in my life, I what do you mean? So well, that's the one I've been talking to you about on this call. Is like that's why I'm saying it's like it. I don't understand whether it's 1 2 3 1. I don't understand if it's random. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work as one. But to go back to what you were saying before, which what was what you were saying right before that? It was we were talking about yeah, you were basically saying, but it's okay. So oozeulacrum, you were saying it's the first step. Isn't it the one you'd want to be reminded of? And no, for multiple reasons. Even in the original, no. Even in Ascentia Beta Beta, I would say no because after you establish oozeulacrum, you can even lose oozeulacrum, right? Okay, let me put it. No, you can activate oozeulacrum, which is a precursor to black hole. Okay, and then you use breathing for mindful of black hole. So that's the normal setup, right? But then even after that, you can lose both of them. You can lose the whole framework. The whole framework can shut down, and you can be thinking about the 11th grade whenever you talk to Tommy. You know what I mean? You can be thinking about whatever the fuck random bullshit which completely shut down the framework. But as long as you're still close enough to oozeulacrum, as long as you said, are in the mindset, as long as you're still in the mindset of in relation to God and you're still close enough to it, you don't need to rerun oozeulacrum. As long as basically, here's what it comes down to. You try to run black hole. If you can't run black hole, then you run oozeulacrum. Basically, is how I'm running it now. uh you could describe it like that, but it's even more complicated than that because I'm constantly bouncing in between the steps. And like I said, I'm trying to find a pattern in how I'm bouncing. I don't know if it exists yet. It's more like at the moment the way I think of it is it's more just like I've got 3 steps, I'm always cycling between one of them. But basically, and another way to look at it is like I was saying before, where a black hole is just like a compounding of the slingshot which oozeulacrum creates. It's almost like you could view it where oozeulacrum is just like a power boost to black hole, because it's like all oozeulacrum serves to do is to increase your understanding of God. That's all oozeulacrum is for, is to increase how you understand your current reality in relation to God. That's what oozeulacrum does. And what black hole is the act of understanding of everything in relation to God, right? Black hole is just sucking in thought textures, and oozeulacrum is realizing everything is thought textures and that they're perfect, and that's why you should eat them. So you could also view it as oozeulacrum just being a boost to black hole, and how you should use it and how I'm using it is in my constant bouncing in between steps. It's like I only bounced oozeulacrum as a power boost to black hole, and then I go back to black hole as the action. And yeah, I really need to think about it. Step 2 and 3 is okay. Step 3 is just breathing, and that's another thing. It's so hard for me to even speak about them as different steps, even though I would classify them as technically different because there are moments in which you can be doing black hole without breathing, and breathing does nowadays actually have an active effect over what black hole does. So they are kind of different. Um, but but they're also the same in the way I was originally describing, which is that the breathing is supposed to serve as a reminder to do black hole. But okay, so now I need to explain this. How is breathing different from black hole? And that all comes down to how breathing has changed lately. And the way breathing has changed lately is like we were talking about. It becomes like an eat yourself kind of thing. But okay, there's something beyond that. Hold on, let me think about this for a second. So black hole also needs the eat yourself step. So you could start calling step 3 eat yourself, because step 2 doesn't include eat yourself, but step 2 becomes more powerful when it's gain eat yourself. So step 2 is black hole. So the way to picture that is that black hole in its final form becomes so powerful that you're no longer thinking about eating perfect thought textures. All you do is eat, right? All you're doing is eating. You're literally even consuming step 2. Your step 2 has grown so powerful that you're consuming step 2. Step 2 has become so powerful that you're eating the you eating. Like even that becomes beautiful. You no longer become Ashton eating things. Ashton eating things becomes something that you're eating. And that's whenever eat yourself has become a step, and that's step 3, and that's basically breathing. So what were you gonna say? What is it? Isn't that truth reheat? Truth reheat. So here's okay. If I had to describe back to you what I just heard, it sounded a little something like this: eat a bleed up bit. Not. So if you could run that back, perhaps. Nietzsche. Yeah, sure. Let's go to Discord. Just fine. So that's good.
Cool.
Anyways, you were saying something about reheating truth.
Yes. Truth, reach, eat. That thing you told me about just a
Yeah.
few minutes ago.
Yeah.
That
First of all,
is the equation that you're telling me about now, right?
uh, probably. I'm not sure exactly how those. Like, I mean, yes, it is. Like yes, that is the steps. It's truth reach eat is just another way of saying oozeulacrum, black hole.
Right. I was just trying to connect the thing that you told me a few minutes ago to the thing you're telling me now.
Yeah.
That you were calling the final step, eat yourself, which now makes it sound like it is truly truth reach, eat.
Yeah, it is. But that's the thing is steps 1, 2, and 3 is oozeulacrum, black hole breathing, which is whatever you said, truth reach eat. It's like they're all the same thing. It's just each one of them notes something a little different. 1, 2, 3 actually doesn't note anything different other than just being the simple way to talk about it. But yeah, truth reach eat denotes specific qualities about each one. But it is just the same steps. But yes, it is truth reach eat, and I was talking about the eat yourself from truth reach eat. And that is the thing, is like that's what's very important about step 3 is step 3 is whenever you begin to eat yourself. Step 3 is whenever step 2 and that's the thing is it's like this framework is good even when you don't do this, but it just goes to the next level. This is whenever you start getting religious convulsions. This is what I used to be trying to make white hole. This is that. This is that thing that I was looking for whenever you were here. We finally found it, and so I used to think it was pushing into experience, and like I said before, like I told you before, that's where black hole comes in. Is it never was pushing into experience. It was pulling in experience so hard that you became the experience itself, which is why it used to feel like pushing into experience, because it felt like pushing into experience so hard that you became experience. But really, it's the opposite. It was pulling into experience so hard that the experience became you. And now I'm capable of not only understanding that and not only sucking things in and reaching out towards reality, but I'm also capable of simultaneously using step 3, which is using breathing to essentially eat breathing, and eat step 2, which is eat reality, and that gets eaten too. And so does the me, which is eating reality, right? So like the entire of step 2 gets eaten, the entirety of step 2. And step 2 is me thinking about eating reality. So it's like there's the me, which is thinking about eating reality and is appreciating the trees and everything. And then step 3 is me eating even that. And that's when, like I said, whenever you can manage to do that, that's when everything shuts down and ataraxy pours down your back and your head flops to one side and you can't even understand reality. Like everything just becomes so large. You zoom out so far, everything's become so vast, your head starts breaking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about. That's cool.
Yeah. So there's that on camera. It's very janky. But at least it's down. And you see what I was saying about sub 1? Probably going in tomorrow like 7 a.m.
What is it? What? Update me.
It's just sub 1. I'm just gonna do it tomorrow at 7, most likely.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So
We
right.
got any specific plans?
No, just appreciate reality. Get tuned back up. You know what I mean? Basically, it just comes
Yeah.
down to I've been working on this framework for a month, and now it's time to see. I've got a finished framework finally. After years of working, I have a finished.